Okay, we're back. And now I'm going to use tabs to set this skull on the back plate. Talking about these tabs, unlike the tube rivet, there's really no formula for what these tabs have to look like. So you can get like really creative with them. You could file points on the end of these. You could round them off. You could extend the tabs if that, enhances your design where it actually bends across your entire piece. The only thing is you have to make sure that they're long enough where they're going to fold over both pieces of metal. And what I mean by that is, we have. Here we go. What I mean by that is like we have two pieces of metal. I mean, it's about a total of 2 millimeters. So you have to account for this bottom piece, because when you bend the tab up, that's basically going to take up 1 millimeter. And then you have to account for the piece that's on top, which is another 1 millimeter, and that would make it flush with the edge of that piece. So it has to be longer than that. So for this particular piece, I cut all of these tabs at about 5 millimeters, which should be plenty, but not too much for the design, where it's not going to cover up the majority of this design. Now, there's a couple of different ways that we can approach this. Again, I asked everybody to use 22 gauge for the back plate and 22 gauge copper. And the reason for that is just so it's a little more malleable and workable. If you're going to try to do this in nickel, especially like 18 gauge nickel, that's really going to fight you. So what I want to do is I want to take my flat nose pliers, and I actually prefer starting the edges like this, with a flat nose pliers, where I can clamp down. Can we see that? I'm going to clamp right onto that. Let's see if I can get this closer to the camera. I'm clamping right down on that tab to the very edge where it is leaving the circle piece. And, I'm going to squeeze pretty hard, and I'm just going to start to bend that up. So you can see how that's bent up. I'm not going to bend it up all the way at this point, because if I have to make some adjustments, if I bend it too far, it might cause me some problems here. So I don't know, I'm going past a 45-degree angle. But by clamping on, it's going to give you a little bit more control, and hopefully it's going to not bend your sheet metal too much. But if you can see that, I have 4 tabs that are started to bend up here. Now I'm just going to set my piece in here and see how accurate I am. So that's actually looking like that's gonna fit pretty good. So now at this point, I'm going to take my pliers again and just bend these to a 90-degree angle. Now I don't really want to go past 90. Now I have 90-degree angle, so I'm going to try to fit this in again. And now that's fitting pretty darn tight, so that's good. But it's not so tight where the nickel isn't flat to the copper. Now at this point, I'm going to set this on my bench block. And again, take the rawhide mallet, and I'm not going to use the ball peen hammer, the steel hammer. And what I want to do here is just lightly start to bend that tab in. So let's see if I can get that in focus a little bit closer, but you can kind of see how that tab is like bent over. But I don't want to bend it all the way down yet in case I need adjustments. So the way to do this is really just like you're changing the lugs on your car. Just go from opposite end, right? So it's like if I'm going to bend it in here, I'm going to go to the opposite side and I'll start to bend that one in. And now I'll rotate and I can hit this side and then I'll rotate up here and hit that side, and right now it's like that's working pretty good, and nothing is going to shift at this point unless I really smack it. So at this point I'll take it down just a little bit more. I'll angle my hammer up, go to the opposite side, and again I'm not going all the way down quite yet. So let's take a look at that. But you know, even if I shake this, you know, it's not really rattling or moving around too much. But at this point now I can take each tab down all the way. And again, I don't have to hit this very hard at all. But those tabs are in place. They're holding the piece of nickel onto the other piece of copper, and it's not going anywhere. So I mean, it's actually a pretty strong connection there. So that is done. So you know, when you're working on this, just make sure that, you know, before you start putting pieces together, that everything is filed smooth, that all your cutouts are accurate. Because once you connect them, it's really hard to get in certain areas and clean that up. So just thinking about the sequence in which, you know, you do your steps. You know, one is design, then cut out, then file, and drill your hole and do your tube rivet, and then do your tabs. So hopefully you come up with some good designs, and hopefully this is helpful. And if you have questions, please let me know. And yeah, there's nothing like skull art. So awesome. Take care. Talk to you soon.